So I've been watching quite a few YouTube videos, and a lot of them are talking about IVF and how same-sex couples basically are having a baby. So me and my wife, we've wanted a baby for a long time, and we went to a few clinics and we did speak to a few people. We went to the Manchester Fertility Clinic and we went there, and the issue was my weight, unfortunately, so we couldn't get that done as fast as what we probably would have wanted to. And then we had a discussion with one of our very close friends who were also a couple, and us kind of four, we all did everything a lot together, and we decided that he would probably be in our child's life anyway, so why not use him as a sperm donor? So that's what we did. We did the insemination at home. It was awkward, and we did a pregnancy test about 2 weeks later. Positive. Insane. Never expected it to work. Never thought it would work. I think we kind of just saw it as like a dry run. It would never actually work. But it did. It worked. And I was pregnant. And it was amazing. That's my puppy shouting at everybody walking past her land. Yeah, we were pregnant. It was amazing. I remember that morning, and I took the test and got back into bed. Literally didn't think it would say anything. And then it said pregnant. So I told Nick, and we both just looked at each other and were like, what the hell is going on? How has this worked? Because the insemination, it was terrible. It was literally people that had no business faffing with sperm and empty syringes and putting them in places that probably we didn't think would work at the time. But it did. We were pregnant. It was amazing. The few days after we'd first found out we were pregnant, Nick was very, very protective, of course, and I didn't feel any different. There was no, all of a sudden, oh my God, I'm pregnant kind of feeling, none of that. And then I was at work on the 4th of January, it was, and it was about 9 in the morning, went for a wee, everything was fine, and then I had a little bit of bleeding, and I spoke to one of the sisters who I was on shift with, and basically said, I don't know if this is, I've never been pregnant before, kind of freaking out, there's a little bit of blood. But I spoke to her, and then I rang Nick, and she basically said, what's going on, see if you can go to your GP. So I went to my GP. They asked me to do a urine test. So I did urine test for them at the surgery, and basically just to go home and wait for the results. So, of course, we didn't do that. We went to Asda, we went and bought some pregnancy tests, went home, took the tests. They were negative, so we were kind of bummed, but the amount of bleeding had increased by this point, so we kind of expected that the baby would have gone. The fetus would have gone, whatever you want to call it. And the doctor then rang us and said, I'm really sorry, it was negative, and asked me about the bleeding. The bleeding had gotten a lot worse at this point, and the pain had also gotten really bad. Gonna get a little bit graphic, but there was quite a lot of clots, and it just wasn't good at all. It was really, really horrible, to be honest. He basically wanted me to go to the early pregnancy unit at the hospital, which I work at, which was awkward. But went to the unit, didn't know anybody there, which was good, because nobody knew anything. No one knew we were pregnant. And they first of all did they do the blood test first? Yeah, so they did the blood test first, and obviously the results of that we didn't know. Then I went into a room and she did a on the tummy ultrasound, which I had to have a really full bladder for, which was awful. And probably the most uncomfortable part of that, to be honest, was waiting in the waiting room. And me and Nick were there. We were obviously really upset because we'd looked forward to it so much and we really, really wanted this baby. And then just to be told that it had kind of just not taken, or, you know, that it had gone was tough. And in the waiting room was this young girl, and she was with her mum and maybe brother or boyfriend, not sure. And she was quite visibly pregnant. She was probably a good 6 months pregnant, and all she was doing was moaning and complaining. She didn't want the baby. It was too late to get rid, which, you know, is absolutely her right to say. But just hearing that, I think, made us even more upset. And obviously when you're in a waiting room full of people, you know, you don't want to be the person crying in the corner. But I had a little tear on Nick. Went for this scan on the tummy. She couldn't find anything. She said, you know, there wasn't any, you know, kind of sac or whatever there should have been. There was nothing. I then went for a wee, and she did an internal, which I think I was more bothered that because I was bleeding so bad. I just had visions of this, you know, big prong ultrasound device coming out full of blood, and that it was going to be gross, and, you know, it's going to be another thing to add on to the worst day ever. And yeah, there was nothing inside. She said that she could see that it had implanted on, I think it was the left side, and that made a bit of sense because I'd had quite a bit of pain on that left side, maybe like a week before or something. So that made sense. But yeah, we weren't pregnant anymore. Basically go home, wait until, I think it was, so this was Friday, got told to go home over the weekend, and then come back to the early pregnancy unit on Monday for another pregnancy test. No, not pregnancy test, for another blood test to measure the HCG level, because obviously if it's dropping, that means that the baby is gone or not there anymore, or being lost. I'm not sure how they measure it, to be honest. We went home. The bleeding was just disgusting. And then I think by Sunday morning, I was just more pissed off than anything. You know, I knew this baby had gone. That was fine. You know, we'd kind of not gotten over that, but we'd accepted that had happened, that it had gone. And then I was just kind of more pissed off that, you know, this bleeding was still happening, and going to the toilet so much and having to change pads so often, and the clots and and the pain. It was just inconvenient, and it was just rude at this point. Monday morning we go to the early pregnancy unit, and they're like, oh, you know, should we do the other blood test? Bear in mind, as a nurse, I should be absolutely fine with needles. I'm not. It's ridiculous. I'm fully aware. But it took them 4 goes to get my blood the first time. You know, veins aren't fantastic, but, you know, you don't need 4 goes. But they did. And so I just thought, well, you know, I know that I've miscarried. I know there's not a baby there anymore. You know, the evidence is in the pad and now in the toilet. So I basically said, you know, what was the result of the first one? And that one was only 7. And I think like a normal level is 3 to 5. So, I mean, it wasn't like it was loads and loads. So I'd probably already lost it by that point. It was just kind of everything coming out. So I basically said, well, I don't need the second blood test. I know it's gone. You know, I don't really want to have another 4 needle tries, to be honest. Which they said was fine. And we went home. Oh, no. They made me do another urine pregnancy test, which, again, was just another person telling me I wasn't pregnant. But I suppose, you know, they have to do what they have to do there. That's fine. And then, oh, bless him, this really, really nice doctor came in. And he was so sympathetic. But I'm a very, you know, let's just get to the point, you know, it's fallen out. It is what it is. It's gone. And he was trying very, very hard. He was being very, very sympathetic. He was there for us, and he had this very soft tone, which I think now I appreciate, but at the time I just really didn't. I was just like, right, come on. I just want to go home, probably need to change my pad again. So I just went home, and since then, you try not to be not unhappy when friends are pregnant, because obviously we're at a time in our life, and so is everyone that we know, apparently, in the time of having babies. And we know lots of people that have got newborns now, and everyone is pregnant, it seems. And, obviously we're very, very happy for our friends who are pregnant and very, very excited for them. But it's also that little bit, that little dagger that's like, oh, I'd have been, oh my God, probably about 4 months pregnant now. So yeah, it's a little bit gutting. And I don't know, it's not that we can't talk to anyone about it, because of course we can. That's my puppy again, shouting. Of course we can talk to our friends who now know. We told our parents after what had happened. My mum was a midwife, and she was like, why didn't you talk to me? I could have helped you, but what's she going to do? How is she going to help me keep a baby and that doesn't want to stay there? But we can speak to people, but it's kind of, I think it's that taboo subject that people don't talk about. People don't talk about miscarriages. And I think even more for us, same-sex marriage, trying for a baby, it's all kind of still a bit of an awkward topic for people. People don't want to talk about it. People at work that now know that I had a miscarriage, it's not like I want them to bring it up, but if someone's talking about a baby or someone being pregnant, someone will be like, oh, are you okay? And it's, yeah, I'm absolutely fine. We can talk about you being pregnant. That's great. That's amazing. I'm really happy for you. But I don't know. I kind of just, sat at home. Probably was feeling a little bit sad because another one of our friends is pregnant and sent us an ultrasound yesterday, and just kind of wanted to make a video. I don't know why. Maybe thought someone else on YouTube maybe would have gone through the same thing, or would kind of understand what we were going through. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm Kate. I'm married to Nick. Probably should have said that at the start. But yeah, I probably won't even upload this. All right. Bye.